Hello everyone! Do you want to know if a servant is good enough to spend your hard-earned quartz on? Great, then you are in the right place. Allow me to give you the information necessary. Welcome to the FGO Gacha Guide. Today, our topic servant is the heiress to a powerful clock tower family, Reines El Meloy Archesort. She is a pseudo-servant borrowing power from the strategist of the Wei Dynasty, Sima Yi. We will cover all of the points you see on screen, but before we go into those, fun fact with Reines, Waver, and Gray, the new assassin coming out with this event, all have a class joke with them, where Reines is super effective versus Waver because she bullies him a lot. Waver is super effective against Gray because of student-teacher relationship, definitely nothing romantic or anything. And Gray is super effective versus Reines because Reines dotes on her and is very loving towards her. I really love this class joke, it's very reflective of their personalities, and I'm glad they did it. Now, let's move on to my personal opinion on this servant. In my personal opinion, Reines is a great support. She only has one major downside. So, to start off, she is a support who can provide 50% MP charge to an ally via her skills after she gets an interlude buff. They are all strong skills on top of having that 50% charge that she can provide. She has a very interesting NP, which allows for unique strategies. Her stats are good. And the one big issue I talked about before is that while she is a support by nature, she has a very high star absorption rate because she is a rider class servant. She will commonly steal the stars of her damage dealers and make it difficult for them to get crits off unless you can guarantee at least 50 stars so that you have a 100% crit chance. Aside from that one fatal flaw, she's a fantastic unit to pick up and I highly suggest her to anyone. Now let's move on to her stats. Reines is a 5-star rider class servant, meaning she is super effective against casters and weak versus assassins. She has 11,427 attack at level 90, which is pretty average for a 5-star, and her HP at 90 is 13,543, also pretty average for a 5-star health value. Her hidden stats show that her MP gain per hit is 0.64%, nicely above average. Her cards have 3 hits on her quick cards, 4 hits on her arts cards, 4 hits on her buster card, and 5 hits on her extra card. Overall, slightly above average hit count, especially considering some of the more recent servants that have had maybe a 1 hit on some of their cards. Her star weight, aka how easy it is to get stars on her cards as opposed to another servant's cards, is 205. This is very high, which means she is often going to steal stars from your teammates. Her star creation rate is 8.9%, which is a little bit below average. Overall, her stats come out to be basically average, with again her one fatal flaw being that high star absorption when she is a support. She does have a nice upside with her good NP gain on hit, and high hit count on her arts card where it really counts to help charge her MP easily, so that she can get her MP off relatively often. Now let's take a look at her deck and MP. Her deck contains 2 arts cards, 2 quick cards, and 1 buster card. A non-standard 2-1-2 deck, taking an extra quick over a buster. Her Noble Phantasm, Unspeakable Formation, Time Immemorial Formation, is a support NP that has a 150% chance to reduce all enemies' defense for 3 turns by 30% to 50% based on the level. It grants the party an Ignore Defense class advantage buff for 3 turns. It means that they will take only 1 times damage from any class disadvantage opponent they have, with the exception of an opponent with the Nega Saver passive, which is only Kiara. And that means Kiara will always do bonus damage against rulers, even if you have this up. It will remove her own debuffs, and finally, 150% chance to reduce critical attack chance of all opponents for 3 turns by 20 to 60% based on the overcharge of the MP. This is a very interesting Noble Phantasm, because it allows you to take servants such as Berserkers, for example, and have them take normal damage from hits while still dishing out bonus damage to opponents, and use that as a main strategy. The defense down on all enemies is certainly nice. Lowering critical attack chance is very helpful if you bring her for one of the harder fights. Let's say you're facing a rider, and you don't want to necessarily bring your caster supports because they're going to get destroyed in maybe 2 hits. Reines helps kind of bridge that gap and allow them to be on field And she herself is able to be on field anyway, just because of her class. Overall, this is a very good MP, which allows very interesting strategies to be developed around it. If you're trying to do something beyond the unga bunga me hit face or me spam quick, etc., that other servants allow you to do. Cough cough Merlin and Scotty. Now, let's see her passives. Her passives are pretty simple. We've got Magic Resistance B for 17.5% increased debuff resistance. We've got Riding B for 8% bonus quick performance, and Territory Creation B for 8% bonus arts performance. Overall, nothing special. Territory performance is obviously Territory Creation is obviously the best one for her for the additional arts performance to help get her MP up easier. Riding helps a little bit when it comes to trying to create stars to make up for her low star creation, but mostly it's gonna help out with a slightly better MP charge on her quick cards. It's nothing special, nothing to write home about, but also a couple of helpful ones. Moving on, let's check her skills out. First off, we have Advice of the Strategist. This increases the party's defense for 3 turns by 15 to 25%, reduces the party's damage taken by the flat amount of 200 to 400 for 3 turns, and charges the entire party's MP gauge by 10%. Definitely a great skill for both its defense and team-wide MP charge. Moving on, we have Emperor Xuan of Jin's command. This charges any ally's MP gauge by 20%, increases their attack for 3 turns by 20 to 40%, and has the demerit of reducing Linus's own attack by 20% for 3 turns. This is a great skill. Sure, it reduces Linus's attack damage, but you don't really want to be using her cards very often anyway. It is a hard support skill because it debuffs herself to make another teammate a lot stronger. It is a stronger attack up than what you usually get due to this, and honestly, kind of worth it. Moving on, we have our third skill, Supreme Mystic Code Volumin Hydradrama. Hydradrama. I don't know how to say that properly, sorry. This gives invincibility to 1 ally for 2 hits that last for 3 turns, and increases their debuff resistance for 3 turns. Not bad, but not that great. It gives you 2 invincibility hits that can last for a while. It's on a relatively low cooldown, so you can have that up on an ally for a lot of turns. But she will get an interlude, which will then add in a 20% MP charge on top of all of that, allowing her to hit that wonderful 50% NP charge for an ally and allow them to very easily reach a Noble Phantasm. And then it goes from not bad to a legitimately quite good skill, because the defense it provides is very high and the MP charge is very nice. With these skills in her MP, you can see that Linus is a support. A very good support. Very hard support. Her MP's unique buff allows for very interesting team setups. Her skills allow her to be viable support for any composition, and she's definitely one of the top tier picks in the game because of all of this. Again, her major drawback is just as a rider, she gathers stars too much. Steals stars from her teammates easily. If you can get past that, then you have a fantastically strong support unit on your hands. Now, with these, what materials do we need to level those skills? Linus's material costs are kind of high. At first, it seems pretty low, with the need for only 15 pages and only 15 gears, but then we get to the Night Weeping Iron Stakes, and she takes 72 per skill, along with 24 Bells of Tranquility per skill, meaning if you want to max out all 3 of her skills, which yes, you do want to, it costs you 45 pages, 45 gears, and 216 iron stakes, and 72 bells. That stake cost is a huge bottleneck for a lot of people. Good luck on farming them. Hopefully it doesn't take you all that long, because, well, the drop rate isn't great on them. So again, good luck. Now, how does Linus stack up against her competition? Are these costs justified? As a 5-star support, her main competition is pretty stiff. She has Waver, Merlin, Tamamo no Mae, Scotty, Nero Bride, Jeanne d'Arc, Sherlock Holmes, Osakabe Hime, and Florence Nightingale as her competition. Luckily for Reines, though, she sits very high on this list. Honestly, I think she is not quite the best of the best. I think she sits one tier below them. If we were to give them letter rankings, Waver, Merlin, and Scotty would be SS tier, whereas Reines would be sitting next to Tamamo at S tier, possibly with Nero Bride closing in on them. But I can definitively say she is better than Joan, Sherlock, Osakabe Hime, and Florence Nightingale. There is no problems there. She is, without a doubt, one of the better supports that you can grab. So if you are at all in need of a support, she's a fantastic choice. Now, if you do roll for her, what skills should you prioritize in leveling? The real answer is all of them, but skill 2 is honestly the best one for you to level up first, as it gives you that big 40% attack up. Then I would suggest skill number 1 because of the scaling defense, and skill number 3 only really raises your debuff resistance even after the interlude gives her a 20% charge. That is a flat amount, so you can just kind of leave this at a lower level. You mostly level this for the cooldown reduction so you can have constant invincibility stacks on teammates. Now, what craft essences to equip her with? Reines is a support, so pretty much anything works. You can go with whatever you want. Honestly, Kaleidoscope / Imaginary Element are two of the best ones that you can pick, mainly because they allow you to quickly reach her MP if your strategy revolves around doing that for the specific class disadvantage buff that you gain. But if you're not doing something that revolves around her MP like that, you can take more generic stuff, the best kinds being Fragments of 2030, which gives you 8 or 10 at max limit break star regen per turn, or Prisma Cosmos, which gives you 8 or 10% MP charge per turn. Those are two of the better ones that you can grab for just passive, keep them on her kind of CEs. Again, you can pretty much put anything on her that you want to. She's not really bound by whatever equipment she is given. She's good no matter what. As for servants to group her with, hey, guess what? She works with anyone. Any servant that you want to pair her with, she will do fine with. Much like Waver, she is an all-purpose damage up support with some defense up to help people survive a little bit easier, so she can be slotted into any team. So, if you want to use her, go ahead. She'll work. So a quick too long didn't watch here. Roll for Reines. She is incredibly good. If you need a support, she will do fantastic work for you. She provides great defense, some good attack up, and a very useful MP to help increase the amount of servants and classes that are viable for different fights. The only real drawback, once more, is her very heavy star absorption. But if you need a real reason to roll for her beyond all the other good stuff I've pointed out, I got one for you. Ba-bam! She is a cute, blonde, sharp-tongued beauty that will step on you. Art by Futa on Pixiv. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out my Twitch channel and all that. Thank you guys very much for watching. Good luck on your rolls, everyone, and I hope you get everything you're trying to roll for. See you next time, everybody.